Hello and welcome to Who Does Rolls. I am your host, Mike B. Here we are again, late this week or potentially early for next week. Either or. Yes, I'm aware this hasn't come out yet, or hadn't come out yet. By the time you see this, it's obviously clearly come out. Lots to cover. Board game related stuff to cover, and Mike life related stuff to cover. And maybe where we're going with the channel. Lots of stuff. So let's do that. Let's crack on with that with some what I played. So what have I played? Not a lot, actually. Taken from last week, I didn't get to play Vic Friday because I was working late so early, can't remember. Sunday we sat down and played a free-player game of Ankh between me, Robbie and Tony. We played the scenario. We didn't have the player merge going on and had some tweaks to that. Generally, very good stuff. I'm really digging on what Ankh is doing. It's a simple rule set I've covered already. The free-player game felt really tight, and it kind of compresses. I don't know. It definitely makes me feel that my initial thoughts were that Ankh is actually going to probably play better with the smaller accounts. Still is there. I think the sweet spot with Ankh might even be 3 or 4 players, maybe even the lesser, I think. And I get a feeling that 2 players is going to be a real tight, cool game. But yeah, generally really enjoying what it is doing. I also threw in the Pharaoh expansion to give that a go, as there was less of us. And again, I think the Pharaoh expansion, having now played that, is something that really I don't think I wouldn't not buy in my games because how it works. We're going too deep into mechanics and all that at the moment. Essentially, when you do a move or action or summon action, you can also do to this Pharaoh board, which essentially gives you these cards off a deck that you can draw and take. And they all kind of enhance all the other actions in the game, and you can play up to 2 of them. If you do 2 actions around, you can play 2 of these cards. And they really kind of add this whole other layer on top of like what you're already doing, and it kind of gives just a bit more meat to proceedings, a bit more tactics, a bit more strategy, and like all good expansions, in my opinion, it doesn't add a lot. It just has the board, the priest figures, and most of the actions are intuitive because essentially you're just playing. When you summon a priest, or when you move a priest as well as on the main board. And that was kind of cool. The only other thing you get out of it is Sphinxes, which kind of work as wild cards for the other monuments and stuff in the game. And they also kind of give you some cool powers and stuff. There's really much else to it other than the Pharaohs. The Pharaohs have different skill sets depending what card you pick of what Pharaoh is going to be played during the game. And they do seem to have scaling issues of involvement and complexity, and we played with a very straightforward, simple one. So anyway, we played that, really dug that. I'm really enjoying Ankh. I do want to play some more of it. There's subsequently been, since it came out, in fact, and even prior to that, there was a whole kerfuffle over the merging of gods, which is a mechanism in the game. Essentially, it's Lang's take at player elimination. If you've played Kemet, comes to mind as a game which late stages, the last rounds of that game of Kemet, and often dudes on the map games, is they kind of fall into these king-making situations, where it's that one player, through their actions, will usually result in somebody else winning the game, not the person who initially thought they were lined up to it, if you did know what king-making was. And it's a thing, and it's really something that besets Kemet. I love Kemet, but yeah, it nearly always comes down to this king-maker situation in Kemet. So with Ankh, I think the whole of this divinity track thing that happens in there, and this merging of gods that happened in like the 3rd battle, essentially the 2 lowest tiered gods will merge into one being. The lowest scoring guy at that point in time is eradicated from history. His god is essentially seen to have been forgotten thematically, and his guardians, anything he's picked up, and his powers leap onto the main god, the other surviving god. And they have now combined god powers, which don't underestimate, because the god powers are really, really powerful. Each of the characters has got a god, and those powers are kind of evoke to me that cosmic encounter vibe of that one power that breaks the game almost. So 2 of them combined makes them significantly powerful, and then on their subsequent turns they each take 1 go each, and they can repeat actions. Now, I personally have not been in a merge yet. I've played 5 games, I think, of Ankh now. One of them was the free player, which we didn't have to merge. Others is merges happened to various people around me, and there's a kerfuffle on it. So Dice Tower recently put a review out where Tom states in the review over there, as soon as he was read this merge mechanism to him, he instantly hated it, and then he subsequently doubles down and say once he played it, he hated it. Now, I don't know how many games they played of Ankh. One would presume a few, maybe try all the different scenarios out. I've not reviewed Ankh yet because I think it's a bit early. I've only played, as I say, a handful of games myself, and I've not played all the scenarios. I've not tried all the Guardians. I've not tried half of the tactics and strategy of the game, and also obviously throwing the Pharaoh version into. I don't get the hate mentality for the merge because it was always there in the Kickstarter project. Always from the outset, they said this is a mechanic that's in the game. I get that it is essentially Lang's take on player elimination. In fact, he tweeted the other day this, which kind of saying, "Oh, this is what we did," and there's discussion. So he's kind of, I presume, off the tails of the Dice Tower review. But yeah, I don't get it. It's been on Board Game Geek. It's been that in bloody Guardians, the merge mechanism. It was in the game. We knew it was in there. I know they tweaked it from the initial idea for it. I've not played enough games to come down one way or the other. I get that for some people, the thought and process of you are going to lose all your nice stuff you've made during the game if you're in the last place. Fine. But you still get to play on, and you get to play on with kind of an advanced superpower. I think, having not played enough yet, but I think if you play enough of this game and appreciate that merge system is in there, playing to its strengths, if you know you're going to merge, might throw a whole new context into the game and a whole new way it plays. And that's what I wonder. At the moment, we've only played a couple of games, and most times I've said this will happen, but until it happens, you kind of... So, I don't know. But personally, I think, hold on a minute, why? Okay, if we take merge out, then what we've basically got is just another area control. We'll do some map game with an Egyptian theme. It's kind of what it comes down to. So why are we... I don't get it. And the Guardians is another thing. You only have a limited few of them on offer. And again, a lot of people complain, oh, we want more Guardians in. It's not that game. Okay, why are you... I don't get it. Why there's this... I like the idea of Ankh, but I don't like anything what it does. So I'm going to take it out and change it because I've played it once or I've not played it at all. It's like, play the fucking game. Play the game before you make a decision. The designer and a team of playtesters and the development team or whoever was involved clearly had some idea that it works. I know a lot of people said it's broken, the merge mechanism. I don't think it's broken. It's just a thing in there. It's dealing with player elimination. It's something that's been very taboo in modern board games, is that no one wants to be eliminated anymore. It's a thing you rarely see, and it's a kind of hot topic. So Lang's kind of squeezed it back into the system by kind of having it there, but late in game, and kind of eliminating but not eliminating. It's kind of trying to balance between the best of both worlds. I think it's an interesting new mechanism. I've not played it enough in any capacity to really come down and say, oh, it's terrible, or it's great. I personally haven't been merged yet. I would like to merge with someone before I can make a decision. But yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. I presume a lot of people backed Ankh blind, is all I can presume. I mean, I kind of did the same. I'd skimmed it, knew what it was involved, knew what the process was. I'm really happy to say I'm really enjoying Ankh. As I say, I think it's, for me, I like Blood Rage. Blood Rage is great, and Ankh is definitely sitting there below that with me of the three of the mythic trilogy or whatever the fuck they are from Lang. Rise of the Sun has really fallen flat so far, and we haven't played nearly enough of it. And I don't know if it's just because we haven't got that table diplomacy shit going on. Anyway, so there you go. There is Ankh. That's what we played. Enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the Pharaoh expansion. I would throw it in every single time I play now. I'm hoping to get some more games of Ankh in. If you don't have Ankh, you've never played it, and you're umming and ahhing still, then I would say, personally, I think the base set offers quite a lot of good bang for your buck. Yeah, we just want to get all the bling. But yeah, there's a lot going on in that base box. And the Pharaoh expansion seems to be very cool. Should we do some news? Here is the news. Full game news. So Dungeon Degenerates Hand of Doom 4th printing is just on Kickstarter at the moment. It's only running, I think, for another week. I reviewed it a little while ago. It's a crazy, bizarre, prog rock, strange, dungeon roaming, fucking weird thing, like a 1970s prog rock album cover, has crashed with the Furry Freak Brothers in a Terry Gilliam sausage fest. That's pretty much it. I really enjoyed it because it's just bizarre and cool, and I like the aesthetic, and it's kind of a bit rude and kind of a bit just fucking nuts. Yes, it's cool. It's always quite hard to get. I managed to pick it up, I think, on the last Kickstarter for the 3rd edition. I don't think there's any major changes in the actual base box in this new version. I really enjoyed it. I love the aesthetic of it. If any of that has interested you, have a look at it, because I've always seen outside of Kickstarters, these are really like rock and roll shit, and they're bloody expensive to pick up, which is why I got it last time. So have a look, because it is just a bit different, which is, I kind of dig it for. It's a bit different. Watch my review if you want, or watch a review if you want. It is very much a kind of, it's just its own thing, I will say, and it's got character. It's a charming motherfucker. It's got a hell of a lot of character, so I would look at that. Dice Realms has been announced from Czech Games, I think it is, CGE, maybe one of those two, but I get confused. Tom Lehman, who did Res Arcana, Race of the Galaxy, Roll for the Galaxy. It's a dice game, again, dice kind of building game, and literally you build the dice with faces on it. It all kind of looks kind of cool. But it's got a massive RRP on it for like $130 or something. So I'm kind of like, oh! I know prices are rising because of just the worldwide situation, but yeah, I was really on board up until, oh my God. Although they have said they are doing, there's a new expansion for Res Arcana coming, which I will pick up. Tony Boudreau, Uncle Tony, yes, I haven't heard from him for a little while. He's been kind of quiet off the boards. He has announced or puts into the world his latest project, which is the Museum of Board Games, somewhere near the Forest of Dean. It's going to have a lot of old ritual school games. I know Teddy was quite somewhat of a fan and collector of old school stuff, and I kind of like some of it. So he's going to this thing. It also looks like it kind of have capacities. You can play them while you're there. It's not open yet, but he's got Patreon running for it. Maybe go and have a look if it's of interest to you, if you've got a chance of when you're holidaying to pop down there. Maybe you can pay extra to have a special visit for Uncle Tony there at the time, and you can swear at your entire family. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? So that's, I think, board game news. There was probably other stuff, but it's gone out of my brain, so that's not important. Me news, now just quickly covering for me news. So things are afoot. I've got a new job. I will be working for the NHS in a couple of weeks' time. September, I think I start, which is cool, yahoo. I'm done with retail. Fuck retail. I've finished my tenure of retail. I finished at Sainsbury's. I've got a week or two to go. Team there, fantastic. I will miss them. It's bittersweet because they're a great team of people. But it is time to move on because the higher management and the whole, it's a fucking clusterfuck, and they have no respect for the people who work in the ground level. I will say that now, okay? Because we were all broadcast as being saving the nation. We were feeding the nation less than 6 months ago. We're great. What they've done since? Cut the fucking hours, thrown more work at us, made our lives a misery. So, do you know what? I'm voting with my feet. Fuck you, Sainsbury's. Go and shop somewhere else, maybe. But yeah, the team on the ground floor are brilliant. Just the corporate nonsense I'm done with, and I'm kind of done with retail. I've spent at this point 18 years of my life, which was never the plan, in retail, doing weird hours and other shit and crazy stuff, and you know what, I'm done. So I'm going to go and work for the NHS and feel like I'm going to be giving something back, as it were, doing something a bit more than just filling beans on shelves. So that's me news. What that will mean for Who Dares Rolls, I don't necessarily know. We are still going to keep going. It essentially means I get my weekends back and I get my evenings back. So in principle, I kind of should be able to do more. However, the bonus at the moment is because of my shifts, I often get weekdays off where there isn't anyone around, like little people like Isaac, to help with stuff. So we'll see. But it shouldn't affect stuff. Stuff should still be coming out. There may be a wobble in the early doors when I'm dealing with new jobs. We'll see. But that's just so you're aware, you're in the loop. That's what's going on. Hey, for me. So there we go. We'll see. We'll kind of roll the dice and see how that pans out. What else will be going on? So I watched Suicide Squad 2 the other day. Really enjoyed that. James Gunn doing his funky cool shit with the DC characters. It is what it is. It's a loud, raucous, bloodthirsty, violent, sweary, funny war movie with superheroes. Good cast. I really enjoyed it. I know it's got review bombed, and it's kind of caught up in this whole release the Snyderverse thing and all this sort of stuff, or restore the Snyderverse. I quite, just where I stand on this, I do think those bumwits that are doing this review bombing are absolute idiots. I'm sure Suicide Squad won't suffer too badly from it. It will find its legs. It will do well, especially on home formats. I have no doubt. I would have quite liked to have seen the Snyderverse kind of finish its run, because I just quite enjoyed that. It was so different from Marvel. The aesthetic, the feel, the darker tone, and all that. And there was a plan, it appears, and it would have been kind of nice to see that play out, just to see where it was, and then we could have always put a cap in it and pin in it and move on. I appreciate that they weren't cheap to make, so I get that. But Warner Brothers is a bit of a shambles at the moment. They've changed management teams again. There's all sorts of shit and fallout from all that. But yeah, as a standalone thing, I really kind of do it. I do kind of dig that they are doing DC kind of standalone stuff. They did Birds of Prey, they did the Joker movie, they've done Suicide Squad. I think they've kind of given up to try and have this mixed Marvel continuity thing, because they were trying to do it in a couple of movies anyway, was the problem. But I would have liked to have seen I was enticed to see where did that went, but there we go. Anyway, Suicide Squad 2, I would say, if you're a fan of James Gunn's stuff, he did the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, blood, guts, gore, mayhem, swearing, inappropriate behaviour and stuff, and just crazy out there. I mean, it feels like a bit Troma-ish, because Gunn worked for Troma for a while. And it does feel like a massive mega budget kind of Troma superhero movie, kind of. And I quite enjoyed it. So that's worth a look if you are in the market for that. Then what else? I can't even read my own thing. I'm reading Aliens Phalanx. Really haven't finished that yet, but really enjoying that for what it's doing. It's good. If you like the alien stuff, this one's set on a kind of a backwater well where it's kind of feudal almost. There's no guns and technology. The human race is kind of cramped into these towers or these underground sort of bunkers. They're hiding from the aliens that come out at night, as they refer to as demons. And it's kind of showing it. It's a different way. It's a different slant. It's cool. I won't say any more to ruin it, but it is quite an interesting take on the aliens mythos and that thing, and some cool world building. That's been pretty good. I've obviously received this the other day. Came Explosion High from Charlie. So Charlie does RPG content. He also writes comic books. How amazing for him. So yeah, this is from Mad Robot Comics. This is Charlie's first issue of Explosion High. He's doing more of these kind of kids superhero stuff. All good fun. There's a shark with arms. What more do you fucking need in your life? So that's kind of cool to have that. And he's doing some more of them. And obviously that's why Charlie's not produced much content. Although I've yet to put out his RPG Grail game thing, which has been set on my editing suite forever. And I will sort it out at some point. This also turned up the other day. The Night Cage, which I really like the idea of this. This kind of feels like the game Subterra wanted to be. And the idea is you're kind of tile placement. You're trying to find a key and escape from a labyrinth dungeon, but it's using light as its thing. There's not actually physical light in the game, though I think the extra versions had lights you could use. But essentially you can only see sort of the tiles in the nearby vicinity to you. So and the map is always evolving and changing as you move around, because you lose routes and stuff. I really like the idea of the aesthetics of it. It looks really cool, and I like the idea of it. And played it and literally turned up about an hour or two ago. So yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into this and seeing what this actually is, because it sounds amazing. Sounds really good fun. So I'm hoping that is the case. That's it, I think, really, for this episode. We will be back soon next week. I mean, I've got a couple of weeks holiday coming up, so I should hopefully get some content done. I've got a Godfather, Corleone's Empire review that I've got to finish editing far around with. That'll be out at some point. Charlie's Grail Games video, and I'm sure other stuff. Until then, stay safe out there, play games, do other stuff, whatever takes your fancy, do all that shit. And I'll catch up very soon with you. Soon. Yes. Goodbye. Thank you for tuning in. Tatio.